to the big church. It's Sunday morning in a lovely new year. Father Moo on the microphone. Father Moo in your area. Well, January has started. I've already got my first track up. I don't know where you are in the world, so I should really say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. For legal reasons, I don't know where you live. But, yeah, it's a new year, wherever you are, probably. And if it is, I hope those of you out there who are making music are going to do something for January, if you can and if you want to. It's just uploading a little piece of music, a video with a piece of music every day to YouTube or to Instagram, I guess, if you prefer that. I'm doing it on YouTube. So my first one went up, and now that the month has started and I'm going on vacation in 3 days, I'm racing every night at work to get more tracks laid down, scheduled for the future, or at least to get parts of things, get something recorded so I can edit it and get it online on the right day. So my personal schedule is going to be about 6 p.m. Vancouver time every day in January. But I'm not going to stop doing the Nord Micromodular stream just because it's too fun. Today we finally reached 100, which is great. Just before I get started, I got myself a little Christmas present. It arrived kind of late. You'll see it in the January stuff that I do if you watch it, but I just want to recommend it, and I'm not getting paid to promote this or anything. It's a little synth from a new company called Modern Sounds, and it's called the Pluto. As you can see, it's got some semi-modular patch points, but it's not a completely modular system in the sense of like, I don't know, the B-word 2600 or something like that. What it is two little melodic voices, each with 4 steps. That's the purple and the blue knobs. And they have sequencers that drive them. And you can use the inputs and outputs, which are all square waves, to restart those sequencers or to send them in a new direction or whatever you want to do. And you set the notes here, and you can quantize the notes to a scale. For me, that's super important, is one of the reasons I got this and not one of the other little semi-modular things in the box like a Benjalin or something. Because I do a lot of stuff in the Western music scales. I need to be able to quantize. Then it just has an effects section here. It doesn't let you set the ADSR. It doesn't have a conventional LFO. It's really just these 2 little voices. Each of the voices has 3 different modes for some variation. But you'd be surprised at the amount of things you can't control with the Pluto. But if you're looking for something that makes 2 voices of semi-random melodic music, this is the thing to do it. And I find it quite similar to my Nord Micromodular patches. Like here, you have a sequencer into a quantizer, and then another sequencer into another quantizer, and that ends up in an oscillator. If you do that twice, you pretty much have the Pluto. 4 steps may not seem like a lot, but when you can reverse the direction and the speed of those steps, and you can also set the steps to be random notes, although the random notes will still be quantized, then you actually get a lot of variation. I'm going to use mine to make some extremely slow ambient stuff. This thing into the Chase Bliss mood is going to be an automatic ambient machine, but you can do many other things with it. And it has sync, so you can pair it up with a drum machine or a Volca or something, and have a powerful little system. So yeah, that's my recommendation for the day. But let's move past that into today's patch. Let's also take off some of the superfluous reverb, which is making my voice sound all silly. There we go. That's more normal. Yeah. Well, as I'm getting set up here, I just want to say 2024 was a huge year for me. I looked back at my stats in February of last year is when I started doing the Nord Micro Modular stream. At that time, I think I had 10 followers, most of which are my personal friends since I live overseas. That was how they sort of followed my music. And I mean, I'd been on YouTube for 5 years, uploading a variety of different things, and just couldn't get people to follow my stream. I never wanted to be PewDiePie, but if I'm really releasing my stuff into the void and nobody at all is listening, then it feels kind of pointless. So February 23rd was the first Nord Micro Modular stream. We got to 99 by the end of the year, and I had about 400 subscribers now, plus one of the videos went to like 2,500. I know these are like nothing by YouTube numbers, but for me, they're something. So I'm happy with them. So thanks to all you out there for making that happen. Let me just talk about what I'm doing here today. I was talking about those generative voices on the Pluto, and I wanted to do something today which I hope will be a generative voice in a different style than what we've been sort of relying on before. You saw in that previous patch how a sequencer fed into a key quantizer and how that's kind of easy. I may use some of those elements today, but I want to get into something a little bit more original than that. So I've decided to go with oscillator A today. It gives me a bunch of different options here, and we'll see if I can get that variation I was talking about. So let's just patch up the first voice, which is pretty normal. Oscillator A is going to go into the classic filter, into the AD envelope, and into the mixer, which is going into our outputs. We got our clock up here. Let's drag him down a bit. Okay, so to make my different sequence here, I am going to use NoteSeek B. And I'm going to use a key quantizer. That's the normal part. I promised I would still do normal stuff. But one thing I'm going to do differently today, usually if I just hit this random button, you'll see that all the values stay within this little screen here. In other words, nothing is more than 12 steps up or down. So, in fact, I want to put in steps that are higher or lower than the default ones are. So I'm going to put those in essentially randomly here. Start with a higher set and coming down to around the middle range. I'm not worrying about their exact values because they're going to feed the sequencer anyway. And then in the bottom half of this, I'm going to let it get a bit lower. And this guy's already been set to range 64, but the reason that wasn't making a difference before is because we weren't feeding it values high or low enough to make a difference. So we're going to patch this into there and that into pitch, which should be normal. I'm also going to take, and I hope this is going to work. We'll see if it works or doesn't work. I'm going to take the same kind of sequencer, and I'm going to put in variations on 12. Let's put 2 12s here. And then here I'm going to put a couple of 12s. Sorry, those are minus 12s. And then here again, up 12, down 12. So hopefully these should change the pitch of the oscillator by an octave. So in a sense, the first input here is going to do a bunch of random weird notes, and we'll set it to 18 steps so it just has, it doesn't have a normal repeating pattern. And this one is going to slam the oscillator up or down by octaves in addition to what the first sequencer is doing. So we'll set him to 15, again, just to be weird. And we'll drive these guys with this. And this is a good starting point. It's going to sound slightly boring, but let's use the gate clock out to the envelope in and get some notes here. I'll just fade it in. Okay, good. Those are... It sure sounds to me like it's doing what it's supposed to. I'm going to tweak the voice here a bit. It's on a sine wave, which is not ideal. I think I'm going to give this guy a second oscillator and hope he can handle it. And I'm going to set them both to square wave. You're not hearing the second one yet anyway. Okay, so they're both set very slow. They're both on square wave, and they're both going to have their pulse width scanned. Sounds good so far. Let's dump in the second oscillator. And this. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful sound. It was cool with two square waves, but I think this triangle wave for the lower oscillator is more reliable. For those really low notes, a triangle is going to work more smoothly. I wonder if you ran this to here, what you would get. Oh, it's kind of just like keyboard tracking. Let me try a few more things here. Hang on a sec. Okay, not bad. So we're getting that greater variation of tone here, and I wouldn't go so far as to say I was inspired directly by the Pluto for this, but when I was messing around with it, even with only 4 notes, I noticed I could get a lot of higher, lower octave pitches, and I thought I would try something similar today. So in that spirit of being inspired by the Pluto, instead of using this boring 16-step output pattern, I thought I would do some messing with the sequencer clocks here to, since again, the 4 steps of the Pluto only become interesting when you mess with their directions or their repeat or their tempo. So let's see if we can do something like that here. First of all, I'm going to take a clocked pattern generator. And then I'm going to take another one. And I'm going to wire them to the default clock. And I'm going to set them to something off normal. Now this might make, I'm not actually sure, but this might make an interesting clock if I run the good old logic processor, one of my favorite simple modules, my so-called Charles Babbage module. I think I'm going to set it in OR mode, but I'll probably have to experiment to get it right. So I'm going to take this clock out. I'm going to take this clock out. But there, yeah, you too, buddy. Actually, you know what? This one can stay in. This is for the LFO. We'll just leave that way to be normal. So I think if I run this to here, I should be able to see the lights. Yeah, see, they're lighting up and they're stopping and they're going again. Good, good, good. So let's try a different logic processor. Oh, wait, that's in the wrong. Totally lost here. Logic processor. Let's try one which is set to exclusive OR and send him the same 2 random patterns and send him to here. And he also is, he's running a bit quicker. Okay, let's see what happens. So now the 2 sequences have been given these random patterns and then processed by the logic processor to make them a bit more likely. If I sent this here directly, the steps would be probably too slow. But I guess we'll find out if they're too slow or not. So now we can take this quote-unquote boring output. It's just as boring as it was before, but it has the advantage of running on a weird clock. So let's see what we get. Cool. We're running into this typical thing here where the decay is lasting longer than a single note. So each note actually is fluctuating in its pitch while it decays. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't sound as typical as a normal synthesizer keyboard input. If you reduce the decay, you'll get more like 1 note, but it's kind of too blippy. Just undo that. What was that? 5 something? There we go. Okay, interesting. I'm kind of hearing like a hi-hat here. Oh, it's a percussion. Oh, so that won't help. Oops. Somehow remove that keyboard. Because the voice is being weird, the drum synths can afford to be a bit more normal. So let's take the clock from the normal clock. Give him a very simple hi-hat pattern. into here and set him to a symbol. Like that, good. And do my trick with velocity. There's a constant. And I need a control signal mixer. Velocity on 20 something. Send this clocked random generator in. Feed it to the velocity. I wonder if I could do the same trick here. Hey, let's try this. Here's something new. You have no idea how hard I try to be new in this in this stream. Repeating myself is easy. Being new is hard. I'm going to use the same setup, Control plus 25. But the second input here is going to be this sequencer's output. And I'm going to send him to the pitch. Can't really hear it that much. Maybe I'll reduce this. That's interesting. Oh, I should probably invert that. That's cool. I'm hearing a kick with it as well, so I'm just going to keep going here. Don't mind me. I'm just a synthesizer programmer. Let's give me that perk kick. The last percussion setting. Maybe there. And there. I love this drum pattern. It's super boring, but I do it all the time. Steal the velocity from here. And the pitch. That was too much. Let's try stealing the pitch from the octave sequencer. Awesome. I think I'll kill the velocity amount. That's rad. Wow. It always pays to steal a CV from somewhere, even if it's not what that CV was designed to do. I mean, it's worth it to try it, not that it'll always be right. It's going to balance the levels here, but that sounds awesome to me. Some of those drum hits are almost like tom hits now, but it still has this function, and it's doing such a simplistic pattern it can't really screw up the beat. One more thing I was going to try just randomly out of nowhere. I think I'm going to try it anyway because we got time. Let's go back to... Sweet spot still seems to be in the 500s. So I was just going to take one more logic processor. Let's do it here where we can see it. And I was going to take a random pulse generator. World's most boring LFO. Set the speed down a bit something like that. You can see the light on. And then only when that light is on will you get a signal here. So I'm going to send the clock from the sequence. In other words, I'm just going to kill the sequencer steps about 50% of the time. So when the light goes off, no more sound. Yeah, like that. Sweet. I'll turn up the density a little bit so we can have more variation. That was too much, actually. See how these, look at these tiny little tweaks making a massive difference here. Now it's giving me like 3 bars on, 3 bars off. Or faster that time. It's a nice smooth clip too because it doesn't cut off the decay of the envelope. It just cuts off feeding gates to the envelope. So whichever note still played, it'll still play out in decay normally as a note would. So you still get a smooth fade out and not a sudden harsh cutting it off. And I'm going to do a little bit to my hi-hats just to get it right. Close. Yeah, there we go. So that's our little pattern. Cool. Okay, I'm calling it. Oh my gosh, I gotta make a new folder to save stuff in. Okay. So let's call this. Well, in my normal life, I name everything by years. In the last one, I didn't know I was going to fit it into a year. So let's call this one 2024 Streaming Patch Archive. And I'll rename the other one to 2023 later. Okay. And this one is back to 01. So I'm going to call it PlutoMoons because it was inspired by the moons of Pluto. Cool. And you know what? I'm going to do the saving in synth later on. I should just take the 99 that are in it right now and run a backup where I rip them all into a batch, or they call here a bank. I'll do that, and you guys don't care about that. It's not interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm really happy that we got here, and beyond making another 99 patches, I don't have too many plans. Most of you probably won't remember that I started making an album even in the summer, and that just got placed on the side. I think I am going to finish that off and upload it, but I don't have time to do that and January at the same time, so that'll be coming probably in February. So yeah. Anyway, hope you had fun enjoying this patch. If you're interested in a new synth, check out the Pluto. I did not get paid to promote it. I just think it's awesome. And yeah, more than that, check out my January stuff and keep tuning in. We'll be here all year. I'm not going anywhere. This is what I do, baby. This is all I know how to do. Seriously. So anyway, it's been good times. I'll see you in the next video. Father Moo out.
You